What's up, Star Wars fans? My name is Prince, and I'm an urban acolyte. This is your number one source here on YouTube for Star Wars news, commentary, and discussions. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about Yoda's last lesson to Luke Skywalker. So I'm going to take you guys back to Ach-To there on in The Last Jedi. Rey has just left Ach-To after she had the confrontation with Luke. She is going to confront Kylo Ren because she believes that based on their little magic force hand-holding session that she is going to turn him back to the light, restore hope to the galaxy by bringing another Skywalker into the fold of the rebellion, the resistance that Leia is growing, right? So Luke is there. He is gonna burn down that tree, the Jedi library and the ancient Jedi teachings. And as he has his little blowtorch or whatever that is, we see Yoda appear, and Luke says, "Master Yoda, young Skywalker, I'm ending all of this, the tree, the text, the Jedi. I'm gonna burn it down."
Ah, Skywalker, missed you, have I?
So it is true. The Jedi are to end.
Time it is for you to look past a pile of old books.
And then Yoda calls down the lightning, and the tree gets struck, and it catches fire. And this is the funny part. So Luke was gonna burn down the tree and everything in it. And then when Yoda does it, he turns around and says, "But the sacred Jedi texts."
Ooh, read them, have you? Page turners they were not. Yes. Wisdom they held, but that library contained nothing that the girl Rey does not already possess. Skywalker, still looking to the horizon, never here, the knee in front of your nose. Lose Ben Solo you did. Lose Rey we must not.
But I can't be what she needs me to be.
Heeded my words not, did you? Pass on what you have learned. Strength, mastery, but weakness, folly, failure also. Yes, failure. The greatest teacher failure is. Luke, we are what they grow beyond. That is the burden of all teachers.
All right, so it's the final lesson that it's the final lesson that Yoda passes on to Luke. And I got some things to say about this, but before I jump into my commentary, my reflection on this scene and the lesson that we can extract from it and go in our daily lives, I just want to tell you guys I'm very excited to be adding this to the Urban Acolyte swag store. We got Urban Acolyte meditation shirts, right? So it's like a long sleeve t-shirt, but it's a hoodie. I don't even have one of these things. I can't wait to order one next week, but I'm going to put a comment down, or I'm going to put a link down in the video description down below. Get your meditation shirts. I'm probably going to get a one that's like a double XL. That way I can slide it on, be nice and loose when I meditate, put my hood up, and do my thing. And it's not going to be anything like this. So check that out. Make sure you get yours and get on top of your meditation and mindfulness game as you train to be like a real life Jedi or an urban acolyte. So anyway, Luke failed, and a lot of people are upset about this. And I'm like, why are you upset about this? Is Luke Skywalker not allowed to fail? Look, I tweeted this out back over the summer. I was listening to Joseph Campbell's Hero of a Thousand Faces, the audiobook, I went for like a 3 or 4 hour walk, right? So I got a lot. I heard a lot in the book, but if you know about this book, if you got the audio version, it's like 16 hours long or something like that. I don't know. So I barely made a dent in it on my long 3 or 4 hour walk around my neighborhood, right? So, but I remember I tweeted this out. I said, it's interesting when you listen to the full hero's journey laid out the way Campbell does, it gets even deeper than the formula. I said Luke never completed his hero's journey, not based on what we've seen, what we knew at that point. As far as the canon goes, he didn't complete it, right? Because the last step that Luke was to make was to reintegrate. He becomes the boon giver, but then you return to society and you're the boon giver, but everything is back to normal. It's business as usual. So Luke should have returned as the farm boy, but he's also the wise wizard, Jedi master, boon giver, right? I wish Campbell were around because it's almost like, it's like this guy I know. I don't know him, but he lives somewhere here in my neighborhood, right? He went off, he's a black guy too, it's kind of cool. He went off to the military, fought in Vietnam, got exposed to Asian culture, studied with a Bagua master. And you guys, if you don't know much about internal martial arts, you got the 3 big internal styles from China. Most of you know Tai Chi. Oh, Tai Chi sucks. A lot of people don't know what Xing Yi is, never heard of it, right? And then there's Bagua. So these are like the 3, I think they call them the 3 jewels, right? And so Bagua is supposed to be the hardest style to learn. It's like the graduate school of Kung Fu, right? And so this guy studies with this Korean Bagua master who's up in Virginia, and he was one of his top students. And then he comes back here to Nashville where he's home, right? And everybody wants to study with him. They can't find him. When I got out of the Navy, I was looking for him. And the dude, now all he does is he just works in his garden, and no one knows that he's like this Bagua master, this Kung Fu master everyone's looking for, right? So that's returning to the normal world as the boon giver, and it's business as usual. There's nothing special here about me, right? And Luke didn't do that. He got to that point, and then everything, he had a moment. He slipped, right? He wasn't mindful, right? And that's what sin is in Buddhism, right? In these kind of traditions that look at more what you do and not what you believe. I believe this, and so I'm saved, right? I'm going to have salvation. No, it's more about every moment and your training, right? And we do this and we reach this step and we manifest this and we have these signs, but it's the journey's not complete, right? And so when they look at you did something wrong, you sinned, I wasn't thinking mindfully. I wasn't aware. I slipped. I was walking and my mind was wandering and I wasn't even thinking about the knee being in front of the nose, like Yoda says, right? So I'm caught up in the legend of Luke Skywalker. In my own hubris, I made the same mistake that the Jedi did. The Jedi, at their height of their power, allowed a Sith Lord to take over the galaxy and plunge it into darkness, right? And Luke that's where he feels he's beating himself up, because I'm caught up in the hubris, the legend of Luke Skywalker, and right in front of me, my nephew, who I believe is the chosen one, in his training, he's being seduced by the dark side. And I allowed Snoke to become a presence in his life, a mentor. And Snoke has now turned his heart. And I don't know what to do. And the first thing I can think of is to spark my lightsaber and strike him down. That is my gut reaction, right? And it doesn't matter, some of y'all, Prince, you talk about mindfulness and say you're enlightened. First off, I've never ever claimed that I'm enlightened. Watch my other channel, because if you know what I have to say about enlightenment, then you would never ever post that in my comments, right? So I'm kind of glad that that bunch has called me a hypocrite and they'll never watch again, because you'll never get what I have to offer later on if you want to get deeper into Star Wars, right? I'm not trying to brag on myself or anything, but I got a tweet today from Robert Thurman. That's Uma Thurman's father, right? If you know about him, he's a professor in Buddhist studies, very famous guy, big into Tibetan Buddhism, right? And he tweeted me about the importance of talking about the outer journey of the Jedi, but also taking the inner journey of the Jedi. It just felt really good to be acknowledged by somebody that I look up to, right? So people will hate in YouTube comments. One of my friends says, YouTube can be the trash can of social media when you're trying to build a message and a platform. You might reach people, but then, 2 or 3 people will come and shit all over your YouTube comment section. And it makes you wonder, what's the point? Am I actually reaching people, right? So it felt great to get that, and that I'm doing on the day that I plan to talk about this issue, right? So the whole idea of training, of being mindful, you have one slip, you get caught up in this thing, and you're not paying attention, and you don't see the bigger picture, right? That's the only thing that Luke did. But the problem is he stayed there. He never moved past it, right? You have gut reactions. You're never gonna destroy the ego, right? This came up in a live stream. Like my man, Self-Elevation, he asked me this. Bro, I'm gonna get deeper into this topic over on the other channel, right? Because this is too much meat. Even though I don't eat meat, it's too much proteins and fats for the Star Wars crowd. They just need carbs. Carbs digest in the mouth and digest quickly. They just need carbs here. We have to get deeper and give all of the nutrients over on the other channel. And that's not a diss at y'all. Y'all come for Star Wars, and I'm a theologian, so I have to talk about theology and spirituality somewhere else, because not everybody wants that, and I'm good with that. I just have said I can't get too deep here. And it is what it is, right? So check out the other channel if you really want to get deep into this stuff, and I can really, tickle your noodle if your noodle needs to be tickled, right? And that's not a euphemism for anything at all, unless you're really cute and you're my type and you want it to be. All right. So let's get back to what we're talking about, right? So Luke had a moment where he wasn't mindful and he wasn't thinking as himself. He was thinking of the legend of Luke Skywalker, Jedi Master, took down the Empire, blew up the Death Star, right? The ego got ahead of him, and he wasn't here. He was out here. He was way out here. He wasn't here. He wasn't present, focused, neutral, and seeing the bigger picture. This is what Kylo Ren is going to do, right? The same thing, Anakin acted a certain way based on a premonition of the future. And the future is always going to be a mystery. Even when we see how things play out, how did things play out for Anakin? He saw Padme die in childbirth. It became a self-fulfilling prophecy because, bro, you turned to the dark side and force choked your wife. You wanted the power to save her, and you got the power and you killed her, right? Luke sees all these horrible things that Kylo Ren is gonna do, that Ben Solo is going to do. And what did he do? He sparked his lightsaber. Ben wakes up, leaves, and goes on to do those things, right? And Luke is beating up on himself, and it's, look, that is Ben's journey, Luke. You need to be present, the knee in front of the nose. You can only control your own steps. You can only control your own actions, Luke. This is what Yoda's telling him. Luke, you can't worry about what your students do. You are the teacher. The teacher can only teach. And you hope that your students will grow past your mistakes. You made this mistake with Ben, but you still taught him. He still has the potential to pick up on the things that you taught him. But if he doesn't, what did Luke even say before he goes and confronts Kylo Ren? No, Leia, no one is really gone. So Ben can go as dark as he wants, but the light is still going to be there, because that's how the Force works. It's not, oh, this is the light side of the Force. I'm light side mastery. I'm dark side mastery, and I'm only going to do bad stuff. That's not how the Force works. And us as Star Wars fans need to unlearn what we have learned, because these video games, and I'm not into the Legends canon, but if that's where the video game makers got that from, it's wrong. That is not how the Force works. The Force is just the Force, is just the Force, is just the Force. And if you try to argue Taoism with me and yin and yang, you're going to lose that argument 100% of the time, because wherever there is yin, there is yang. And wherever there's yang, there is yin. And if you try to separate the two, if you understand internal alchemy, you're probably going to kill yourself. And if you don't, and you're just talking intellectual nonsense, you're going to be wrong 100% of the time, right? So we won't even go there. The Force is the Force is the Force is the Force. And it's all about your intentions. Are you acting out of selfish reasons? Are you acting out of selfless reasons? And Luke, you have no control over what Ben is going to do. You have no control over what decisions Rey makes. But as Daisy Ridley says, Rey's moral compass is ultimately pointed north. And Luke, the best thing that you can do is set her up for success, to do the things that you were not able to do, right? It's like the song T.I. said, don't be me, be better than me. Luke, the only thing you can do is take this girl who has actively sought you out because she knows the legends of Luke Skywalker, and she wants a piece of that, and teach her to be better than you. And that is the lesson that Yoda is trying to impart on Luke. Luke, don't give up hope, right? You were the new hope for us, for the mistakes that we made. She is the next hope to make up for the mistakes that you made. She will make mistakes, and let's hope that when she has students, they will grow beyond her mistakes. Her longing for her family who threw her away like garbage, and all the bad stuff she had to endure on Jakku, she can now teach her own students, and they can grow beyond her pains, her failures, her weaknesses, and turn them into strengths. So if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and click on that subscribe button so that you can take your first steps towards becoming an urban acolyte. Embark on the journey of becoming the hero of your own story and become a force for change in your community. Continue to support the channel. You do that by getting one of those meditation shirts. I sure want one. Make sure you get one before I do, or you're going to be watching these videos one day like, I want one, and I'm telling you how to get one right now. You can also check out more videos. I think they're on this side, right? So you can check out the last Star Wars discussion, or you can check out this video from my other channel. Anyway, thanks for watching. Y'all keep on breathing, and may the force of others be with you always.